Yeah, it's that time of the week again. I know I'm a day late than I usually am, but that's besides the point. Yep, Kamen Rider Zeztz episode, what is this, 8? Man, this was an insane episode, let me tell you. So let's just jump right on in. So we begin directly in the dream, no pre-setup, we just get right into the little nitty and gritty. As Baku's goal, or well, position this week, I guess, is being a chef. And so here he is, stirring a little pot, doing the chef stuff. And they have this really extended, sequence where he's just making food. And by my God, I was watching this last night, right before dinner. And I was like, man, I'm really hungry. Also, what's weird is this is the first instance of this episode having very weird directing. I don't know what was going on, but I guess the director of this episode just wanted to try something different, as there's a lot of extreme close-ups, this being one of them. And yeah, I just want to point that out because this episode has such a stylistic difference that none of the others do. And there he is making food. I'm like, damn, that looks delicious. So we kind of are introduced to our, I wouldn't say plot devices, but kind of like our victims, so to speak, as they finish preparing the food. The assistant chef, I don't think we actually learn his name in this episode, but the assistant chef takes a little taste of some soup or some sauce he made. That's the word, sauce. And he's like, I think it's good, and he asks the chef, hey, could you check this to make sure it's okay? And the chef just starts roasting it. And the assistant chef tries to insult him. But after the assistant chef tries the corrected version of the sauce, he's like, damn, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. So the chef's like, if you don't like my food, you can go. But as they're, cleaning up in that little moment behind them, Nim walks in, and her goal this week is being a gardener, which is weirdly the closest thing to something I could see Nim doing in real life if she wasn't, wrapped up in all this. If she wasn't, a supermodel who's also been kidnapped by the bad guys. I feel like she'd be a gardener. Maybe that's just me. And so she's all excited and cheerful, and her and Baku have a little bit, which is very adorable. I love this a lot. But the chef eventually is like, hey, get your ass back to work. But as they're working, the assistant chef collapses. He starts having intense pains. Oh, we do learn his name. It's too late now. He's already dead, basically. As the chef watches on, we get to see, in the front part of the restaurant area, that this is where, the mine doors are located. We already see that this is not the first instance of somebody collapsing in the kitchen. And Baku reveals this week's mission: destroy the biological weapon. Whoo boy, this is gonna get intense rather late. The middle of the episode's very slow, but then at the end they just pile a ton of crap on. So let's try to get through this to the best of our abilities. So after that we get the little intro, and we're back in the dream world. Baku's starting to take photos, as we see the assistant chef has been shipped off to the hospital, which is nice. It means that he's not. And I know I joked he was dead, but he's actually not. He's totally fine. And Nim, probably because she just doesn't watch spy movies, is like, what's a biological weapon? So he explains it to her, and we also get the episode's title, Serve, which is very generic. I kind of expected something more from biological weapon themed episode, but I guess they want to say that for episode 9. Nah. And as they kind of go over what could be a potential cause for the biological weapon, Nim takes a quick little detour to thank him for having a mission all of his own to find Nim. And I think it's adorable that when she says she wants to help, Baku doesn't push her aside. He actually lets her in, which is great. Once again, I thought they were gonna treat her like a Bond girl, but no, she actually gets shit to do. I love that. So he brings her to the Code Secret Agency, which I did not think he was gonna do that this quickly into the show, but I'm here for it. And so we get to see Zero, and weirdly enough, in this episode, he is speaking, like, a lot of English, like, more so than usual, which is nice. It's something different, and I think this is, like, the most amount of English ever spoken in any Kamen Rider production, like, ever. And then it's like, oh my god, you have a robot? That is awesome! But he's just like, nah, it's just a robot. There's no, like, it's not actually intelligent, it's just a shell. And he produces a rose for them, which is awesome. Zero is like it was like a little magic trick. I like that. So they try to figure out exactly what could be causing it. There is a ton of possibilities, from the utensils to the ingredients to the air to the cleaners they use. And he's like, and Zero asks the pertinent question, how is the poison taken? Is it through contact? Is it through consumption? Is it through inhaling? And over on the side, Nim messes around with the little capsules, where she pulls out a green capsule. And because, you know, she's brand new to this, she isn't quite aware. Like, she's not fully, like, understanding what capsules are. So she's just like, this is kind of cool. And so he tells him, hey, look, the quickest way you can solve this is to go to the Dreamer's mind door. And he's like, the last man standing is the chef, so it probably is him that's the Dreamer. But his dream is cut short as he's getting a call from Detective Fujimi. I remembered his name. I'm starting to remember names, which is great. I still don't remember the sister or the lady detective's names, but it'll come eventually. So he's like, hey, buddy, we got another black case. And he's like, and so they go over that the chef that collapsed in the dream also collapsed in real life, and they are currently unaware of what the poison was. But what makes this doubly worse is that the chef is catering an event, a political event, which means if things were to go wrong, it could start a war. So that's not fun. And when they ran the test, they had no idea. Like, it didn't come back with anything that poisoned him, so they're kind of confused. And after the detectives leave, Zero offers up a brand new toy. So we get introduced to this. I know I did not get a good screenshot, but they didn't really give us a good moment. But he explains that this is a little scanner thingy that can help him break into things, scan things for poisons, and so on and so forth. It's actually really handy to have. But seeing as, you know, it's during the day now, and the Dreamer's awake, they really can't do anything. So they offer up another solution. As Zero's just like, yeah, bruh. A true gentleman knows when to relax. But before we get there, we do get to a bit of explanation into the political event going on. As Fujimi's like, hey, bro, we gotta shut this thing down. And as we see the vice minister, it's like, we really kind of can't. You know, our political ally personally requested this. We can't just, go ahead and say, let's cancel it. And rather unconvincingly, they decide not to change the plans, which means Baku has to kind of hurry his ass up and defeat the Nightmare. So whatever happens at the event does not, lead to a war. So at the restaurant in the real world, Baku and his sister go for lunch or something. And again, I love to know how he does this, but he actually explains that later. So he just kind of gets impressed by seeing all the photos of the chef from back in the day. And she mistakenly thinks that the chef invited him, and he kind of like tells a half-truth about how he has a new job. And the sister brings up the fact that Baku's inability to help people without, getting struck down by lightning or some shit. He's like, no, I swear. It's just for me. I'm not helping anybody, I swear. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Also, once again, I just love to know how he's able to skirt around the fact that he's a spy. Like, she's gotta know. There's no way she doesn't. But Baku is easily able to confirm it's not poison in the air. So it's gotta be something in the food. Yeah. And of course, who could have saw this coming? It's a big fancy sauce. As he realizes it's a hazard. And unfortunately, it's also on the menu for the political event. Wonderful. Well, as Baku's like, yep, I found the nightmare. Woohoo. Now I gotta go kick its ass. I do think it's neat, though, that he is using, like, he's being like a spy in real life, too. So, yippee. But back over at the event, Fujimi starts running off, presumably to, like, shut down the restaurant or something. We really don't see where he goes. But the way Detective stays behind, and as the chief of police, I assume, I kind of forgot what this guy's role was already. And she asks, hey, why is it that Fujimi is so obsessed with the black cases? He's like, damn, you didn't give me the backstory yet? Well, years ago, before you were part of the team, Fujimi actually had another subordinate who just kind of up in one day quit. And from what he was told, the guy just kind of sent in a letter and never showed up again. And so Fujimi was kind of convinced that a black case has to be involved somewhere, somehow, because his friend, just kind of dipped. And he seemed to be, like, really into the job. I have a theory for that I'll get to later. But that must wait because we're back in the dream world. So Baku breaks in, runs into Nim, which is adorable. And she has her recovery capsule in her little vegetable thing. And what's really cool, this made me so goddamn happy. Zero actually gave one of the little phones that can read the captions to Nim, which is adorable. And she's like, I may not have understood the words, but I'll take it. And so she shows him the recovery capsule and its tied ability, which is to restore others. Baku's like, yeah, I guess that kind of is a vegetable in a weird roundabout way. And Nim's like, so, jokes aside, have we figured out exactly what's causing people to, die? Yeah. And as they go into the kitchen, they see that the chef has made just a shit ton of sauce. Like, there are so many pots. And Baku stops him from, poisoning himself. And he explains that, well, technically not something's poisoning the sauce itself. Oh. Sorry. I don't know why, I just, froze for a moment. The sauce kind of jumps up out the pan and nearly attacks Baku, but he's able to deflect it using the power of the stream capsule. As we see, the sauce is the nightmare itself. I don't know, what just happened right there. Anyways, back to the episode at hand. With the location changed and the nightmare now fully realized, we can transform. Yippee, it's action time, baby. And once again, who's ever directing this episode has some really good moments and some really weird moments. This is one of those really good moments. This is an awesome shot. So we transform him. And what's really cool is when he twists his hand to do the stream transformation, the camera twists with it, which it was a neat little detail. I liked it a lot. And again, the editing, also kind of odd, because as he transforms into stream, there's this completely unrelated clip of, trees rustling in the wind. I don't know why that was in there, but I guess they needed to pad an extra 4.5 seconds. Sure. But he uses just base stream, which is a little boring, but hey, it is we gotta sell the toy, so we kind of have to use stream if Impact's gonna be the one that everybody sees on the marketing. So he starts fighting, putting in some work, and then he realizes, oh shit, this entire little battle area is actually somehow tied to the nightmare. That's not fun. Once again, creative use of the powers. I'm loving this. So as he's getting chased by just like a river of poison, he transforms into Wing. I know it's kind of hard to see because of the motion blur, but trust me, Zeztz is in there and he's in his Wing form. So he protects Nim from the poisons on that Captain America style, wings over top. One problem though, he's not immune to the poison. So naturally, he starts being in pain, and Nim's like, oh my god, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have had to, been hit by the poison. He's like, hey, it's fine. You're safe. That's all that matters. And I love the way they support each other. It is, I hope they get to be the end couple, like the end goal couple. I hope they don't mess up this relationship because I love it so much. But as some cryptic shit starts getting said, as I've been calling him, Mr. Nightmare Man, aka Nox, appears. Look, I remembered his name too. So he's like, if you start spending too much time kind of half dreaming, it's easy to miss some nightmares. As we see, the chef has been poisoned. Sure, I guess, why not? And naturally, he's very confused. If the chef is a dreamer, then why is he also being poisoned? And as we see the poison gripping Zeztz in the dream, it's gripping Baku in real life too. It is painful, and his sister runs in and is like, Baku, oh my god, you need to wake up, dude. I did not realize I had a screen grab of that. But he's not ready to fully give up yet, so it's time to debut a brand new form. And once again, just extreme close-ups. I don't know why this is in the episode, but I like it. It gives you a closer look at the suit and some of the extra finer details that you don't normally see on the camera, which I won't complain. Oop. So it's time to transform. By the way, I don't know if I like this standby. It's weird. The original one, really good. The stream one, it's okay. It's not the best thing in the world. This has a weird fantasy vibe to it, which is cool. But it's just kind of odd. Why did I say it like that? But I do like the transformation pose. This is a really cool transformation pose. The one for Impact, it's a bit long, but it's very stylish. The one for Stream, it's way too short in my opinion. Here, this one's a perfect middle ground between quick and complex, and might be my favorite set of transformation poses. I'll have to see how the purple form does this later, but as of right now, this is my favorite transformation pose. And what's weird is that when he transforms into Recovery, he weirdly enough goes back to being Baku for a second, just so he can say Henshin, which is fine. I like it. And once again, this is such a clean suit, dude. Oof. I went from hating these suits to loving the Zeztz suits. Oh, this one is so good looking in my opinion. So he uses his power of recovery to help the chef, which is nice. And I find it kind of weird that, I shouldn't say weird, but it's kind of just generic how kind of just runs his hand, covers his hand slightly above the chef, and that's what heals him. But I guess that's what you have to do. I don't know, I just kind of wish there was something more creative there for how recovery helps others. But he's like, hey, chef, you're good now. But Nox, ever cryptic as ever, he's just like, I found it. As Baku gets metaphorically and quite literally kicked into next week by the nightmare. And we see as the poison becomes completely unbearable for Baku to handle, and he falls to the ground. And Nim runs over, is like, Seven, please, you gotta wake up. And we find out, just like Inception, if a nightmare kills you, and we get this intercut between Nim trying to wake him up and his own sister trying to wake him up, you die in the real world as well. Kamen Rider Zeztz dies. I did not expect this to be happening this early into the show. This actually blew my mind. I was not expecting this. And so, the episode ends on a rather somber note, as his sister has to call an ambulance because her own brother has stopped breathing. And Nim is panicking because she can't do anything. She's just in the dream world. She doesn't know how to help. And the episode just ends like that. That was so unexpected to me and so shocking. And spoilers for a 20-year-old show, but if you haven't seen Kamen Rider Kuga, what are you doing? It is fantastic. Kuga also dies in his show. Granted, it's about 10 episodes later, around the 20 episode mark. But what's important to note is that much like Zeztz, he weirdly enough has 4 main forms that are different colors: a red, blue, a green, and a purple. And when he dies, he comes back to life and gains a new set of powers. Now, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying, it feels like it's borrowing Kuga's homework a little too much. I know it's a trope for like Kamen Riders to die and gain new powers like all the time, but this feels a little more in line with Kuga than like any other time the trope has been done. And spoilers for next week, so if you don't want to get spoiled, I guess just leave now or like skip. But it seems like Baku does get revived. It'd be really cool if they didn't actually revive him, and instead someone like, I don't know, Nim became Zeztz, but that's besides the point. That's just wish fulfillment that will can never happen. So it's mostly trying to keep us in a mystery of how exactly Zeztz comes back to life, which I'm quite excited to see, honestly. I wonder how they're going to do this and bring him back to life. We also see that, weirdly enough, the 2 assistant chefs are completely fine. So, wonder what that was about. And Nox has a weapon. Yeah, I'll get to that at some point. And we see episode 9 is entitled Poison. Overall, this episode was shocking. Whilst it was kind of weak up until the last 10 or so minutes. I wouldn't even say 10 minutes, the last 4 minutes. Those 4 minutes are really strong contenders. And look, let me defend myself. I love Kamen Rider, but I have not seen all of it. I never watched Gav, despite saying I would. Mostly just because when I watched the first 2 and 3 episodes, I just couldn't get into it. I know, hyperbole. Oh my god, one of the best Kamen Rider shows, and you don't like it? Yeah, I don't. Sue me. Actually, don't sue me. I'm kind of broke, but that's besides the point. Let me just get back to... Yeah, there it is. So, yeah. So, to me, this is, the first time I'm actually kind of watching a Kamen Rider show as it comes out since Zeztz, which is, 3 years ago now. So, needless to say, it's been a hot minute, and my perspective is kind of skewed, because I'm pretty sure... I think it's the same writer as Zeztz. If it's not the same writer, then someone close to the writer of Zeztz that's writing Zeztz. So there's a lot of commonality between those 2 shows. And also 01, which... those 3, which Zeztz and 01 are Kamen Rider shows I like a lot. A lot. So it makes sense that Zeztz, which is doing very stylistically similar stuff, I also like. I just wanted to defend that. With that being said, though, this episode gets, a 7 out of 10. Just because, again, it tries its hardest to kind of, make it a super exciting and crazy episode. Right at the end, okay, sure. The rest of the episode was kind of boring. Really boring. But, I guess, cool action and a great cliffhanger makes up for that. I'd love to see how they're going to revive Zeztz. And I also have a personal theory that I think is far from true, but I'd be pretty shocked if it was right. And that's Nox was Fujimi's previous subordinate. like he left, became like the big bad of the season, which will probably lead into the secondary riders debut that now I have to make a video for. So yeah. But with all that being said, though, let me know what you thought of this episode down below. Did you think it was like the best thing since sliced bread? Did you hate this episode? What did you think of the cliffhanger? Do you think it's too early to be killing off the main rider? Because in my opinion, it kind of is. Or do you think this is a perfect time to just shock the shit out of the viewers? Let me know what you think down below. I'll see you all next week. Or probably tomorrow. Because there's a ton of new toy news for Zeztz. Yippee me! And also, Kamen Rider Zeztz episode 9 will debut. Happy Halloween, and I will see you all next time.